We all come from different walks of life, and we face many challenges in life. Whatever you may be going through right now, or whatever you have gone through, I need you to know that you are not alone. I'm Mildred Towns. Let's be real about real life issues. Hello and welcome to Let's Be Real About It, where we're real about real life issues. I'm your host, Mildred Towns. Our disclaimer is that this is a no holds barred zone. Therefore, some of the contents discussed may be offensive to some, but that is not the intent of the show. Y'all, I'm excited about my guest tonight, Jerome Graham. Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, he's out of the box now. He's directly out of the box. He come with just how it is, and he gonna tell you just how it is. So it's not to for you to be offensive about it, but it is what it is. And I love this dude. I enjoy sitting down talking with him because he make a lot of sense in what he's saying. He just Jerome, and I just appreciate him. Love his mom. Just appreciate him for coming and being a guest on the show. Jerome, welcome to Let's Be Real About It.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for extending the opportunity.
Yes. I'm gonna get you to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Name is Jerome Graham. 50 years old. Church boy. Grew up in church my whole life. Married, kids. Not perfect, getting better. But everything that I speak to is from a lot of self mistakes. Life mistakes. But I never lost focus of what my grandmother, grandfather, and my elders put into me, which is God. I haven't made all the right decisions, but all the decisions that I did make, whether right or wrong, I always remembered, that it was His mercy and His grace that kept me, regardless of what I did. And I just bring a lot of my thought process from biblical scriptures. And I'm humble if my position is wrong or whatever. You can show me. I ain't talking about tell me biblically. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm all ears to be corrected. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I don't take nothing offensive. Oh, I do have one thing. Basel Towns, you know about this. So there's two things. There's truth and there's a lie. It's yes or it's no. Anything that falls in between here is your opinion. I can care less about your opinion. So it's either yes or no. Hey, is water wet? Yes or no? Well, what if you free? Hey, I ain't talking about that. You talking about ice? I'm talking about water. Is water wet? Yes or no? That's how I am.
And look, and that's what was on the flyer right by your mouth. It's either yes or it's no. It's either yes or it's no. And really truly that's how it should be. It's either black or white. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, that's
yes
it.
or no.
That's it.
So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start off with um the thing that was on the flyer and that women want to know right now. I made the announcement on the radio that meet Jerome, because that's the title of the show tonight. Meet
Mhm,
Jerome.
mhm.
When I was thinking about it, I couldn't think of nothing else. I couldn't think of no other title than Meet Jerome. That's the only thing I could think of.
Okay,
So
okay.
why women should be put in their place. Now, when I said that today, a woman looked at me. She said, "Well, where is a woman's place?" I was like, "So, Jerome, the floor is open to you. Put a
So
woman in her
so
place."
I passed this around to a couple other people when I was out today. So they told me that individuals gonna come for my neck. So I made it very easy. I wore a little crop. I wore a t-shirt, so my neck is completely exposed. So um, my take on a woman need to be put in her place. Um, I think for um in my generation, I look at society now, and women haven't been put in their place, and it sounds very sarcastic, not sarcastic. It sounds very what's the word? Um
You can look at it from a negative point.
yeah, you can look at it from a negative point or from a positive point. A lot of people look at it from a negative because all they hear is a woman need to be put in a place. But where is a woman's place? Where is it? A woman's supposed to be protected. A woman's supposed to be loved. A woman's supposed to be nurtured. A woman's supposed to be heard. Are we putting her in her place? Or have we left a society of women out here to really fend for themselves? Because the man is not where he's supposed to be. So when I make the statement, a woman need to be put in a place, is not necessarily a downgrade on or talking negatively towards women. Is more taking the mirror, pointing it back at men. Are you putting a woman in her place? You want her to love you. You want her to listen to you. You want her to respect you. But you doing the same thing on your end. Are you being the head and taking the responsibilities of being the man and leading her per the word of God? Or are you really being a punk and taking a sidestep because you don't want the responsibilities that come with being a man? You just basically want to play the part of a man from either a physical standpoint, a sexual standpoint, an outer look, or whatever. But the characteristics of a man, are you meeting that? And that's what I mean by putting a woman in her place.
Mhm. And you will find and as a matter of fact, we was talking about this on the air today, uh, that so many women are not in their place, and the level of respect. And that was a man that called in and said, do women, have respect for men now?
Why would they? I wouldn't. If I was a woman, I wouldn't. Real talk. I hear young girls say a lot of times when I'm out working, man, what I need a man for? Well, me personally, I think that's a very, very that's a very ignorant statement to make. What do you need a man for? Well, um, you need a man because God put man here for a reason. That's why you need a man. So to make that statement, that makes absolutely no sense. I try to go back and think to myself, have I ever, even though men mistreat women, we dug women, we don't do right by women. Have you ever heard a man or a movement in any way, shape, form, or fashion stand up and say men don't need women?
No, no.
But you've heard movements that women make the comment, oh, we don't need a man. We can do this, that, and other. Really? I mean, really, seriously. Seriously now. If you look at farming, agritech, building, I think if my numbers are correct, only 3% of construction work is done by women. 3%. So if you had to build a stretch of road for 100 miles, that means men would complete 97% of theirs and women will complete 3%. We both need each other. But you never heard men say we don't need women. We know that we need y'all. Even though we may not act like it, but we know we need y'all. We know it. So as far as men men being that example and putting women in the place of protection and this, that, and other that they're supposed to be, I think we done dropped the ball. I think we dropped it.
Hmm.
I really do. I think and I'm not saying it just because, I'm up here trying to talk with this. I done made my mistakes. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, I'm as straight as a snake's back. I done did mine. You know what I mean? I done been in these streets. So um, but I'm at a point now where a lot of men when they're younger, or just don't have the direction, or even have men willing to put the mirror up and say, man, I messed up. I did wrong. I didn't do right by her. I didn't do right. Don't make the same mistakes that I made. And be willing to take away that mask, like you the man. Nah, you're not a man. Not by your actions and the way that you treated women. And I'm talking about collectively across the board. I'm not saying all men,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just talking about men in general.
Mm-hmm. And that takes and what you were saying about women doing men jobs. Now, one of the things that you had talked about was what is the greatest tragedy to humanity in the 20th century?
Yeah, it's women's lib.
Mm-hmm.
It's women's lib. And I can speak on this. I'm not gonna go really like in depth, but at what point, um, when you had women's lib and women had to fight for their rights and um um had to fight to have an ear, or to have a voice or whatever. That's what I mean as far as men putting them in their place. They should be in a place where they can speak. They should be in a place where they can exercise their thoughts, you know what I'm saying, of bringing something to the table. You know what I'm saying? But men with the don't want to hear what a woman got to say, don't want to hear any bring her listen to her point of view, then they had to fight unnecessarily to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with that being said, it also took away somewhat the voice of a man, because a man now, a woman can stand and say, well, um who are you to tell me anything? But that's out of biblical order. You understand what I'm saying? That's out
Mm-hmm.
of biblical order. It was God. And let me say this: anything that I say and talk about is based off of one thing. I grew up Christian, whatever you want to call Christian, Pentecostal, deliverance. I believe in God, one God, not three. I believe in one. It's one God. That's it. So I go back and I remember a lot of stories. My grandfather used to read me in the Bible and this, that, and other. There was God. God created Adam in his own image, and from Adam came Eve. There's a pecking order. So for society now to say we don't need men, we don't need to listen to men, that's out of order.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely out of order, God. So for me, women's lib created, and I'm not saying all women, but it created a sense of equal, and it's not equal. I mean, and I don't mean to say it and sound like I'm any better, or because scripture says he has no respect of person.
Mm-hmm.
He has no respect of person. So I'm not saying it from a standpoint that I'm, as a man, and I'm better than a woman. But God told Adam that he had dominion over the earth. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. Men, are you being responsible with your title and your name? That's the only question I have for him.
Kevin said he gonna name a hot dog after you. Kevin, he said, "Hey, tell Jerome I'm gonna name a hot dog after him. Doggone good dog."
Doggone good dog. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's good, bro? What's good?
That boy ain't right. And women bad about that. Women, get liberated, and they feel as though I can make as much money as a man make, or make more money than a man make. So what do you have to say? What can you say to me?
Yeah, and but I don't even think it's um I don't really think it's so much the money. I really don't. I think if you really get down to the if you really get down to the realness of it, I think women look at it and they're like, man, I done scratched and clawed and got here by myself. Man, what I need you for? I mean, what can you tell me? What is it for you to talk to me about? You know what I mean? So I understand it, but at the end of the day, is it right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it in balance? Is it in check? Nah, it's not. And again, I'm just coming from King James. If you have another belief or this, that, and the other, this isn't to offend you or whatever. I'm just saying off of the platform of religious beliefs that I exercise. This is why I stand on what I say.
And y'all can bring y'all comments. You know, bring your comments. We want to see you flash up on here. Give him a hard time. Reach out to him. Give him a hard time. But one of the other things, uh, what would you say to a single parent home, whether it's male or female, and they are raising their children, you know, on their own? So
Mhm.
what would you say to a single parent home?
um, to the identify the absence, whether it be a female or a male, to identify it and identify it honestly. Identify it honestly, um, and then seek the help from the church as far as putting them around like-minded individuals that can train, teach, instruct, guide, that they can feel comfortable asking questions. Don't really put them around individuals that's going to give them the half truth or give them the truth from their perspective or whatever. No, it's something I used to always hate about, when I went to church and when I was younger. I used to ask a lot of compelling questions that didn't make sense to me, and they would kind of shut me down, you know. And I never understood, from a Christian standpoint, why are you so afraid to disclose the skeletons in your closet to show
Mhm,
where God brought you from? But
mhm.
you always want to exemplify um, this squeaky clean image when you know, and I know, because I know you haven't been saved your whole life. I know you done made mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So why can't you just be 100 with it? Man, if you was a dude or whatever and you was running around, I mean you a deacon now or you a pastor now or whatever, and you talking, be like, man, hey, I done ran them streets, the whole south side and east side. I done been a lot of places that I shouldn't have been. But you know what? God had mercy on me. Man, people can respect you more. So I would say to the single family, male or female, um, find family members and put those kids around, whether young or teenagers, put them in situations where they can see examples of people who made mistakes, that'll be honest about their mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And more importantly, share their mistakes and how they came out of the situation that they was in based off of their decisions.
Because one of the things that you do find is that people don't want to be honest. You
They
know,
will be honest.
they don't
Yeah.
want to be honest. They don't want to tell the truth. I was a whore. I was this. I was that, and they just don't want to tell the truth because they're afraid of what people are going to say about them. Like you say, they may be preaching now, afraid of what people are going to say about them. But if you can be open and just say, you know what I love about Pastor Joyce is that she gonna tell it just like she is, just like it is. She gonna say, "This is who I am. This is what I did." You know, you either like it or you don't. You know, but she don't say it being offensive, but she call it truly what it is, and that's one of the things that I love about her because she just come out of the box and she just say what she say
And
and
listen,
to tell the truth about her life because it is what it is. It's her life. It's her life story. It's her truth, and people respect her. People have respect for her because of her truth.
I don't tell I don't put a lot of my mother's, business out there, whatever. But if you ever really sat down and listened to my mother, when I was younger, and my mother took me to Baltimore, and I was a student. I really sat back and I watched, and I've always been that type. You know what I mean? One thing she always told me, you know, uh, is rules to this game. You know what I mean? It's rules to this, and it's from a street standpoint. But she always used to tell me, um, things I'm doing is not right, or things I'm doing is wrong, or whatever. But always remember, it's consequences for what you do, and the
Mhm.
choice that you make is what the results you're gonna have to live with. And I always took that with me. I always took that with me. But when you talked about somebody being a whore, and I had a conversation with a young lady. This was some years ago. I said, "Let me ask you a question." She was talking about prostitution, and she said, yeah, prostitutes are filthy, and prostitutes are this, and prostitutes are that." I said, "Well, let me ask you a question." I said, if you had a boyfriend, right? You had 5 boyfriends, and you slept with all 5 of them, right? She said, "Yeah." I said, "You got a prostitute that slept with 5 guys in one night." I said, "How is she any more dirtier than you? Both of y'all done slept with 5 guys. You just did it over a period of time. The only difference between you and her, she got her bills paid. You got your heart broke. So what's the difference?"
Amen. That makes a lot of sense.
I'm just saying.
And it's true. And it's true. One getting nothing. Look, somebody said, who is that? Somebody said nasty. He said nasty. But it's true. But it's true. One got bills paid, one didn't.
Well, then got their heart broke. Yeah, yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And I want you to talk on this too. A man makes a woman who
What?
she is.
Yeah, man makes a woman who she is. Um, any and I was talking to what's the DJ? I don't want to pronounce his name right. Is it DJ Ron?
DJ Ron.
Yeah, I was talking with DJ Ron, and he asked me, we was chopping it up before we came on, and I said, "A man makes a woman what she is." I said, and he was like, "Huh?" I said, "A man makes a woman what she is." I said, "Now I'll go to timeline with you." I said, "Let's go back 2 generations. Let's go with your great grandmother. No, let's go with your great great grandmother and your great great grandfather. Was your great great grandfather a loving husband? Was he a drunk gambler? Was he in and out of the house or whatever? How did he treat the mother? Well, the grandmother, who was the daughter, saw that example exemplified by the man. So she is going to do one of 2 things. She's either going to hate men or have a negative outlook upon men based off of what the grandfather did to, I mean, the great grandfather did to the great grandmother, or she's going to look at it as accepted behavior. And statistically, it's in abusive relationships. If they go back and look at the mother and the grandmother and see what their household was like, they can see the pattern that the woman either did one of 2 things. She either completely turned sour on relationships, or she was very guarded, or she accepted it and came into an abusive relationship because she looked at it as accepted and normal behavior. That's how he loves me. That's how he's supposed to love me. So again, it's not a knock, and it's not a negative statement towards women. It's a statement towards men that we have to be mindful that our image and what we do to these young girls' mothers, these young girls' aunts, these young girls' sisters or whatever. They're looking. So you can't get mad if you dug out your your wife or your baby's mother or whatever. Now your daughter come along and she pick a dude with the same characteristics as you. There's no need of you coming up to him talking about, yo, I'm gonna lay you out, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Yo, you made her what she is. You put that example in front of her. You have to tell her, hey, I'm sorry. I made the mistake. That was my fault. I shouldn't have did this. I shouldn't have did that. Most men won't do it though. Most men won't do it. You know what I mean? We'll try to point the finger to say, oh, well, your moms did this, that, and other. But you didn't put her in her place. So how do you blame her? You didn't put her in the place. I'm gonna ask you this, Apostle Towns, and just use this and use this scenario. Think about this. God told Adam not to partake of the fruit. Correct?
Correct.
Now, when Eve came, Adam told Eve, you know, we can have anything. God said we can do whatever, just can't partake of the fruit. Now, when Eve partook of the fruit, imagine if Adam would have put her in her place and said, man, babe, you wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You shouldn't have did that. I told you not to do that. I got direct commandments from God that I can have anything but that. Now, I'm going to take you before him and see what the punishment is. Imagine if he had done that, but instead he didn't. You know what I mean? So by him partaking of the fruit, he had to work by the sweat of his brow. She had to endure the pain of bearing children. Who made her have to endure the pain of bearing children? Was it her actions or Adam's?
Adam was given the charge.
Adam was given the charge. So do you understand the pattern and you understand the timeline that man, his decision makes a woman what she is. I'm not talking about from a job standpoint and this, that, and other. Stop getting off that surface. I'm talking deeper. I'm talking more deeper. Something that people got to really sit down and look themselves in the mirror and really look at self.
Because this is something that we was talking about on the air today. This very same thing. You know, what a young girl see her father do, because the father set that pattern in her life. But when it comes to the men that would get involved in her life, he sets that pattern. And if she see how her father may not be treating the mother nicely or whatever, then those are the type people that she's gonna gravitate to. If that man's treating the mom like a queen, you know, and respect, and the mom giving the dad respect, then that's what she's gonna gravitate to.
So she's gonna gravitate to, and she'll be able to identify. Game. You know what I'm saying, or whether it's real sentiment, feelings that this person is giving to me. You know what I mean? The young girl should feel comfortable being able to come back to the father and saying, "Daddy, blah, blah, this, that, and the other," or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? As far as getting the male perspective, so that she can identify, he can turn her on to game that a young boy gonna say. So she can stop it as soon as the young boy come with it. You know, she can be like, "Hey, hold on, babe. Let's go and get this straight out the grip right now. That's not the path I'm taking. I'm not moving like that." You know what I'm saying? And by that father and that young girl having that open relationship, being able to talk like that, um, it'll be a lot less mistakes that she make in life, and she'll find that person that'll remind her of her father.
Yeah, and another thing, right on what you're talking about. Uh, Dwayne Minister Candy said, "Great conversation. Thank
Uh,
you."
thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So one of the things was one of the that we talked about, that my guest, Alicia, had said, that a man know what when a man know what a man lusts after versus what he want.
Oh
So
yeah,
that
yeah,
dad could tell that daughter, this is what a man lusts after, but this is
yeah,
what he really want.
yeah.
So how would you put that in perspective with what you're talking about?
Man, what a man lust over? Man, them hips, lips, and fingertips. Hey, them hips, lips, and fingertips. That's something terrible. That's something terrible. I ain't gonna lie. That's something terrible. That's something terrible. But at the same point in time, um, if a and let me yeah, I'll say I'll go this route. Let me say this to young women out here. Um, always remember something, that regardless of how good you think you look, there's another girl around the corner that look better than you. Invest in asking men and boys questions like, what are you looking for out of a woman? Where do you see yourself? What are your goals? Don't worry about bags and your behind hanging out and your cleavage and your breast sticking up in your face or whatever. Because trust me, there's another girl that looks better than you around the corner. Trust me. They said some of the most beautiful women in the world is in Brazil. I don't even want to go to Brazil. I don't even want to go. For me, that no, it's not good for me to go to Brazil. But to the young to the young girls out here, I would definitely um tell them to ask a lot of questions as far as guys, to find out where they are and what their goals are, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes sense. And when you say goals, like what should they be looking for when in a man, when he say goals, and here she a teenager, and what should she be looking for?
I would say the first thing is ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want? And be realistic. I'm not talking about you want a mansion and I want to, man, just look, be realistic. Hey, I want this, I want that. I want a house by the age of I'm going to college. Well, do you want someone that's college educated? Well, then why would you talk to somebody that done dropped out of school?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? You set the goals for him. It says in the Bible, for a man to find a wife is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same point in time, what is he finding? What do you bring to the table? But at the same point in time, you shouldn't settle for just any man. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I see myself here. Do you plan on having kids? These are serious questions that we as young, and I can only speak from a black perspective. We as black men and young women weren't taught how to ask these questions.
Mhm.
And I can speak for in church because that's where I grew up at. Only thing you heard was two things: don't have sex,
Mhm.
don't have sex, and um um it's better to marry than to burn.
Yes.
Those are the two things I always heard. Well, my question is, well, before I marry or before we get to talking about sex, have you all put anything in place or anything in play to take my mind off of the sex that I have, that you're teaching me how to fight towards something? You're keeping my mind off of it. 9 times out of 10, no.
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, no. So I tell people to and that I'm learning now, that I know now, man, ask a lot of questions and don't just let guys talk to you about what they gonna do, this, that, and the other. Watch their action. Watch what you talking about you going to college, the dude going to college, but you in class or you in school, you never see him. This dude ain't serious about college. Why even
Mhm.
waste your time with him? Trust me, there's going to be a college campus full of men that's gonna have some of the same values, that's gonna have some of the same thought process that you have, that you all will be able to mesh as one.
Mhm. And let me ask you this. Why do you think it is when a couple is dating that everything is hunky dory, they loving on each other, they all excited about each other, and the moment you say I do, maybe some months down the line or a year down the line, it's like everything go left field. Why do you think, what do you think is that? I don't even know the word for it.
The- Um, what the problem with it? Um,
Yeah, why does it seem after you get married or say I do, I will, I do, then it goes, you think it's the commitment?
from a man standpoint, it's the commitment. And if there's any men, and if there's any men out here who listening or whatever, you know what I mean. You can care to disagree. I really don't care. Is the commitment. Um, uh, because you
Ashley says after the honeymoon phase.
what's that, after the honeymoon phase?
Yeah, Ashley
Yeah,
said after the
yeah.
honeymoon
I
phase.
think I think a lot of times from men it's the commitment. From women that I've spoken to, I can't say it out of my mouth, but I'm talking about from my conversations. A lot of women get caught up in the love, and what they're doing is they're looking for, um, again, when I go back to the father, making a woman, the fact that that father, whoever, wasn't there to instill what it was into her, she's looking for something. She's looking for that validation. She's looking for that. So, um, the girl is basically just going off of the boy, you know, spitting that game in her ear. You know what I'm saying? So she going with her heart, but she haven't really looked at it. She haven't really looked at him to see where's he gonna lead me to. Where's he gonna take me? What is he gonna be, that provider? Is he gonna be that safety net? Is he gonna be that loving person long term? I ain't talking about short term. I'm talking about long term.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Once the look at his actions, as far as just watch this. Look at his actions with this. If he can't consistently take out the trash, pay his car notes, pay his rent, those are commitments. If he can't do that, what makes you think he gonna be committed to you? If you haven't given him standards that you live by, if you haven't given him standards that were instilled in you from the jump, what makes you think he's gonna be committed to your values if you haven't given him any? You just went along for the ride because he said he loved me.
See, and here's a good question. Joyce Butler, what makes a woman wife material, and do you think all women are?
Do I think that all women are wife material? No, no, not all women are wife material. Um, I think that um, women that are um, wife material have to be wife material. I'm not saying spouse. I'm not talking about partner. I'm talking about wife material. Because again, I go back. I go back. The Bible says for a man to find a what, Apostle Town?
A wife.
Then there are biblical principles that she has to live by. So if she does not understand those biblical principles or respect or uphold those biblical principles, how can she be a good wife?
Hmm.
I'm just asking. I mean, I'm just asking the question.
Because one of the things, comes down to respect. How much do I respect my husband? Because
Yeah.
the Bible said a wife is to respect her husband.
Hmm.
Is to show him respect and and to honor her husband.
Hmm.
And it's kind of hard. And these are things that I have heard women say, that it's hard to honor and respect a man that doesn't show or deserve, and if that's even honor and respect. If a man beat me and verbally abusing me or physically abusing me or mentally abusing me, it's going to be hard for me to respect that man and to honor that man, even though it's required of me to do that.
But then from my perspective, then you can't hold that woman to those requirements because the man is outside of God's commandment. You know what I'm saying? So how can you respect him who is
Mhm.
supposed to be the head, who's supposed to be the covering? How can I respect you when you're not putting me in my place per God's word? How can I respect you when you're not in your place? You're not doing what you're supposed to do. So how
Mhm.
can you come to me and say, "Oh well, I'm the head and you supposed to respect"? Yeah, I'm supposed to respect you, but there's some requirements from you need to exemplify to earn respect. So again, I still say it goes back to the man. It goes
Mhm.
back to the man.
Yeah, because it also says, that a man should love his wife as he love his own body.
Hmm.
So if you're not loving your wife, it makes me wonder, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, makes me wonder, how are you loving yourself?
Well, I'll be honest. It's something that I'm comfortable about talking about now. I grew up. I grew up as a kid. A lot of depression. Um, a lot of depression. Used to always, as I got up in age, used to always contemplate killing myself.
Hmm.
Um, um, yeah, I've been in some spots. I've been in some dark places, but, but, um, I believe, a lot of old heads used to say the prayers of the righteous. I had a praying family over me. Not talking about my life or whatever, but man, I done been out here. I done been out here, did that, done that. Um, and a lot of places I've been, a lot of spots and a lot of things I've been in, it was just the grace of God that I came home. Not saying I'm no thug or nothing like that, but I've been in some sticky spots. Um, but getting back to that original part of it, the reason why men don't love their wives, and I won't even just say wives, the reason why men don't love women is wholeheartedly 100%. Man, men don't love themselves. They don't know how to love you because they don't love themselves.
Mhm.
Men do not love themselves. Um, they're afraid to go against the narrative. My grand my grandfather said something to me years ago. He said, "Son, it doesn't make you a big man to sleep with a lot of women. It makes you a big man to sleep with one."
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Have I been perfect with it? No. Am I able to admit it now in my life where I'm at? Yeah. Why? Because if I can help um one more young male to get at that crossroad and think about it. I don't know which path you're gonna take. You take the path that you take. It's on you. You the one that gotta live with it. But at least if I give you a reason to make you stop and pause for a minute before you make it, I feel like I did my part. But men don't love themselves, so they don't know how. You have a society of men out here right now that do not love themselves. And it goes back to the man. It goes back to the man. Any woman that raised a single son that had to show him tough love, or you hear about, women being hard on their boys and this, that, and other. That's not the nature of that woman. That woman is nurturing. She's caring. She wanna rub his back and hold him when he crying and this, that, and the other. But she had to wear two hats. What was that dude at? What was the father that laid down and helped you have him? Where's he at? So when you see that boy that doesn't know how to love himself as a man, and again, inner city kid, seeing some things, and all you see around you is the same missteps and same mishaps from men around you in your community. You know what I mean? And then you see on TV or now social media, and men are shown in different lights or whatever. You hate yourself because you look at it like, man, why I can't be like that?
Mhm.
Why I can't this? Why I can't be? Why I can't? And then they go and try to do things and take the shortcut to try to obtain and be what they see, which is fake. It's false.
Mhm.
Anything that you see is just what you see. But if it's not instilled in you, that's not you. That's just something that you're trying to be. And at the end of the day, you'll still hate yourself because when that image changes, then you're going to have to change. And you've gotten so used to being that image. Now I got to work all over again to be another image.
And Jahara said, so how can this be fixed? Men loving themselves.
One, I honestly think it's men sitting down, um, taking accountability for what they've done, taking accountability for who they are, looking at their good and improving on their good and looking at their negatives and find some seasoned heads. Man, what happened to going to the barber shop? What happened going to the barber shop? I remember when I was little, the barbers was like 50, 40, 50, 60 years old. What happened to the old heads in the barber shops that really talk that truth? You know what I'm saying? That talk to them young heads and would tell them, yo, young boy, you don't want to do this. Yo, young boy, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do the other. You don't hear that now.
Mhm.
Now it's just, man, you living your life. Dude, live your life. Well, what life is it? You haven't lived life. You're living in the moment. So you haven't lived life. You don't know anything. You only know what you've experienced. What better person to learn what you're gonna go through than ones that's already lived it?
Already lived it. Already lived it.
Already
And
lived
even getting back to Jerome, even getting back to men loving themselves, you know, as you said, young guys trying to be somebody else and they lose total identity of who they are
who they are.
They
Mm-hmm.
lose total identity of who they are
Mm-hmm.
because they want to be like who they see on TikTok, who they see on Facebook, who they
Mm-hmm.
see, on YouTube, who they see, and they lose total identity
Yeah.
of who they are, and they lose um, what do I want to be when I finish school. Some of them right now going to college and still don't even know what they want to be.
Yeah. Don't know what they want to be. They just around here I don't smoke. I've never smoked. I've never smoked weed a day in my life. I mean, never. But you look at them and all they do is walk around all day. They pulling it to the head and this, that, and that. And you ask them, man, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you? And then they come with this gaslit story of what they want to be and what they want to do. And you looking at it, and I'm like, bro, you have no education. You don't have a lick of college. You're not even in the circle to even attempt to be what it is that you trying to that you saying you want to do. Man, you sound like an idiot.
Yeah, and Pastor George said impossible to be a man outside of learning the man that created man.
Man, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And me and Bible True, yeah, much a lot promoted in media that way.
Hmm.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes.
I honestly um I look around and I look at society a lot because I deliver bread, so I'm out in stores a lot and everything, and I just look at men and women. Um, and now that I'm older, man, I'm really, really, really concerned with um the absence of direction. Man, this society out here with these young men and young women, um, is really they have no direction at all. It's like being a puppet master and cutting the strings and just letting them do for themselves, and you're not holding anybody accountable for anything that they do. You just tell them, man, they just living them. They're just living their man. What do you mean? They haven't lived a life. So how can they just live their life?
Mhm, mhm. And they have no respect,
Have no respect.
no
No,
respect for
no, no respect.
elders, no respect.
I
Oh,
I talked to my cousin. My cousin works at an elementary school down in North Carolina, and I told her, I said, man, it's sad. Um, but where are the men teachers and that's in the schools? And man, I remember when I was in school, there was men teachers on the halls. You know what I'm saying? That little bulls got out of line. Or I remember I went to Roland Park in Baltimore, and man, them men, the teachers and this and that, man, they'll slam you up in a locker quick. But they set that precedent that is men in here. Where
mhm.
are the men? Where are the men that's gonna stand up and say, "Hey, I'm a man that made mistakes, and I want to stand up and be accountable for them, so that the next generation doesn't make the same mistakes that I made." I mean, I got my hand up. I have no problem with it because you can judge me all you want to. You can say whatever it is that you want to. I really don't care because it's just your words. It's not gonna affect. It's not gonna affect me. It's just what you saying. But I send that out to all men. Man, when and at what point in time do we talk to these young bulls? When do we talk to these young men about putting their women in their place? Because understand, the women are the ones that's raising our next generation.
Mhm.
And if you don't put them in their place, how do they put the kids in their place?
Because they have to realize because they're going to be fathers
They're gonna be fathers.
and they're going to raise daughters.
They're gonna raise daughters.
And what they have learned, if they don't get a grip on it, then what they daughter see is what they daughter going to gravitate
What
to.
they're gonna gravitate to.
And Jahari say they are out here. It's just the individual these days are privy to hearing the wisdom of their elders. So true.
True. True, true, true. But I will say, a lot of the elders that's out here, um, a lot of them don't want to pull back the curtain. A lot of them don't want to pull back the curtain. A lot of them not going to sit around and talk about, man, yeah, when I was younger, this, that, and other, I had 2, 3 kids on the other side of town. You don't find that out until they die, and the kids and stuff pop up at the funeral. That they had a whole nother family on the other side of town. Man, why you not talking about it now, so that your grandchild, your son, or whatever, don't make the same mistake that you made? I mean, so now you got 2 families. You got a family over here that you not over there. You got a family here at home. You not there because you trying to juggle 2. At what point? Come on.
You see what Joyce Butler said? Where are the men? She said behind closed doors putting on panties.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah, yeah,
true.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Behind
yeah.
closed doors
Putting on panties.
putting on panties.
Yeah,
Look at your look. Look at that look on your face, Jerome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother subject right there. But yeah, that's a whole nother. Yeah, that's a whole nother subject.
That's a whole nother subject. But yeah. But I am so glad, Jerome, that you came on tonight, even though we didn't get to go through everything. And Jahara said, and they are. And
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
is so true.
yeah.
And
They
it
putting
is
them
so
on.
true.
That's what. Hey. That's why a lot of times when you at home and you can't find them Victoria's Secrets, you go in the bathroom. He probably got them on. Get ready to take a shower.
Yes, yes. So, what would you say in 1 minute to sum it all up? What would you say to the listening audience out here? Now, people be listening to some everywhere on different platforms. So, what would you say to the listening audience?
Um, Men, research biblically. If you believe in God, what your responsibilities are as a man. You're not going to do everything right. You're not going to dot every I and cross every T. Um, to put your woman in her place. It's a precious commodity. Protect her, cherish her, and do everything that you can to let her know that she's in a place of comfort, in a place of love, um, in a place of security. She's not going to agree with everything that you're saying that she can or can't do because she has her own mind. But um, if you can back it up biblically, if you all believe in the same thing, you know what I'm saying? If you believe in the same thing, if you can biblically show her that I'm doing X, Y, Z, so and so and so, based off of the commandment of God, then if she doesn't want to follow that, then that's not for you to buckle your position. Then you let her run rampant and do what it is, and she deal with whatever consequences come with it because she's out of the will of God. To the woman, do the same. Look at the responsibilities that God has commanded of a man, and make sure that whoever it is that you are looking at or talking to, or whatever the case, um, make sure that they're exemplifying some of those values, some of those principles, because at least he has a decent foundation on what God wants from a man.
Yeah. So, Jerome, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tell everyone how they can contact you.
Um, my email was down there, jeromegraham3013 at gmail.com. This is my first time doing this. Got a big mouth, talk about a lot of things. Anybody want me, ask questions or whatever the case, man, just shoot it to me. I ain't hard to get along with. I just speak my truth. I try to be respectful, and tell everybody that, that this is just how I see it based off of the religious beliefs and stuff that I believe in. And I don't say nothing to offend or whatever. I just hope that it opens up a thought process for you to possibly look at something another direction, another way. But more importantly, um, I want the men to look in the mirror. Look in the mirror, man. Look in the mirror. But again, Apostle Towns, I just want to say I greatly appreciate this opportunity. I really do. I really appreciate this opportunity. To say, the few things that's on my heart. I mean, I got a lot in my head, lot of positions that I look at. But I just want to say I greatly appreciate you. I really do.
Thank you. And that young lady wanted to know if you have a YouTube.
I don't have a YouTube. I don't have a YouTube. I don't really, a lot of people keep telling me that I have a voice. I have something that needs to be heard. I just haven't got out of my way of doing the YouTube thing and it's that never. Um, hopefully Apostle Towns have me on some more and I can get a little more comfortable and hopefully reach out and people have questions for me or whatever. And trust me, I'm gonna give it to you on the red. I'm gonna give it to you on the red.
Yeah. So he will be back on. As a matter of fact, he got an invitation to another platform. Ashley said, thank both of you so much. This was amazing and I learned a lot. Well, we're glad that you did, Ashley. Can we get another episode? Sure, we're going to get another episode.
Sounds good.
From me,
Sounds
Jerome.
good.
But
Sounds good.
I got to go. Please
Yes, ma'am.
subscribe to my, Would you say something?
I said thank you. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Let's Be Real with Mildred Towns. If Let's Be Real been a blessing to you, please consider sending a love offering to $ Mildred Towns. I'm going to skip over my book for tonight due to time. There's one announcement that I want to make. I told the girls today that was on my show today on the radio that I would make this announcement because it's right in line with what we were talking about. Her daughter, Jasmine Thomas, and my granddaughter, Kiana Dooley, is going to be one of the guests, one of the panelists for this Bold and Beautiful conference. If you're in the 757 area on April the 13th, which will be doing school break, from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, Jasmine Thomas is a 15-year-old. She will be hosting a Bold and Beautiful conference for teen girls. And you can get your tickets at www.girlslivingboldly.com. That's www.girlslivingboldly.com. And this is going to be in the Virginia area. As a matter of fact, it's going to be in Portsmouth on April the 13th during spring break. Girls Living Boldly. It's going to be a conference, Bold and Beautiful, on April the 13th from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. And so if you got a daughter that can't go, make sure you go to this, that you don't have the money to go. Some people are going to be supporting some girls who don't have the money to go so they can get in the midst of other girls who doing things positive. So there's going to be 4 panelists for this show. As I said, my granddaughter, Kiana Dooley, is going to be one of the panelists for this. So you can get your tickets and also go on there and let them know, hey, I want to come, but I don't have the money to come. And see if you can get a sponsor. So
how much are the tickets?
The tickets are $65.
Okay.
Yeah, the tickets are $65. Also, you can contact me at iheartministries@gmail.com and 757-776-2987. I want to give special thanks to those who watch the show nationally and internationally. And until next week, y'all, let the peace of God reign, rule, and abide in your hearts. I'm Mildred Towns. Thank you for watching.
What up, y'all? I'm on stage. We here at J&K Style and Grill with my main man.
J&K Style Grill, home of the original waffle burger, stuffed wings, and Philly steak hair growth.
The food was amazing, man. I'm talking about collard green stuffed chicken, mac and cheese stuffed chicken, waffle burger with the special sauce.
With the special sauce.
Come on, man. What are you doing if you ain't eating here? You're wasting your life.
Pull up.
J&K Style Grill, you can copy the style.
But never the best.
We got it.
We got it.